Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to the Operation Freedom channel here on YouTube and another special segment. It is my honor to have with me someone I consider a very good friend and someone who I believe will make an immediate positive impact on your life. His name is Stevie Richards. That's right, professional wrestler, superstar Stevie Richards. Let me give you a little background on Stevie. He grew up in Philadelphia. And from a very early age, and Stevie will go into this in a little bit, he decided he was going to become a wrestler and a professional wrestler. And the blowback he got, even as a little guy, was, you can't do that, and you know what, do something for real. I do a real job, right? Well, as opposed to most people who would be dissuaded at that point and pack it in and start to focus on something else that the friends and family thought was more, quote, appropriate, end quote, if you will. Stevie put his head down and he kept working out and he kept hitting the neighborhood gym. And while he was at the gym, he really focused on fitness and training and conditioning programs and how to make himself to get to his goal and make himself better in spite of all the negativity. And this is one of the real important points with Stevie is that he was told from a very early age, don't do this. No. Negativity out the kazoo. He didn't buy into it. He had his dream. I always end every segment, dream big and dare to fail. Well, Stevie's what's that all about? He kept dreaming and he kept daring and he succeeded. Because at 20 years of age, Stevie got his break and he started to wrestle in his first match, if you will, in professional wrestling. Now, it didn't start and stop there, obviously, if you know Stevie's background. Let me give you a little bit. He was a two-time ECW World Tag Team Champion, numerous championships from wrestling companies around the world, 22-time WWE Hardcore Champion, the most of any other wrestler in WWE history. He would go on to appear in several WrestleManias, and those of you that aren't familiar, WrestleMania is kind of the professional wrestling Super Bowl, if you will. And he was voted one of the top 50 most jacked superstars in WWE history. Now, that came with a price, a big price. And if you just look at Stevie's injuries, Stevie had multiple injuries, underwent 29 surgeries, including a surgery for his neck, which he had broken at one point. But what Stevie found out through the program and through all that adversity was that proper diet, utilizing the body's own internal functions for healing, an appropriate conditioning, strengthening, and training program could not only get him back on his feet, get him back in the ring, but actually get him more active in what he does on everyday life. And this is where I think it's very, very important. So even though Stevie's big-time wrestling career is not on the forefront right now, he utilized that adversity in his life and he developed a fitness and training program. Now, before anybody goes off and says, oh, this is like a commercial. Look, a commercial implies that I'm getting paid to do this on behalf of a product I know nothing about. A couple things. I'm not getting paid. I'm doing this as a public service because as an orthopedic surgeon, I can tell you, two of the main causes I saw in my office of people coming in with injuries was one, not training and conditioning and just going out and participating in a sport and getting injured, which could have been prevented with a training and conditioning program that was appropriate beforehand. And number two, people would come into the office that were involved in training and conditioning programs that were one size fits all, and they were getting injured. So I speak about prevention of injuries. I speak about nutritional health and wellness. We do that with Dr. Peter Glinnon. This is another side of it, training and conditioning, but training and conditioning that is not one size fit all. It's a program that can be utilized for men, for women, for young, for old, for conditioned athletes, for unconditioned athletes that want to become conditioned. No money is exchanged here. I'm doing this as a public service to educate and empower you and to work to help with your overall fitness and well-being. Proper diet, when we talk with Dr. Glidden about the nutritional aspects, the injury prevention techniques that I speak about in the book I've written and my platform, and what Stevie brings to the table with conditioning and training. Stevie, welcome to the Operation Freedom platform.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you so much for that incredible introduction, mirroring the one we did when I was on your radio show on Sunday afternoon. I really do. I'm humbled by the kind words and the fact that God has brought us together, if that's what people believe, or serendipity, or what it is. And I was actually the one that came to you as somebody that wanted feedback to improve the programs. You as an orthopedic surgeon, and I was really nervous about it because I was like, oh man, I hope that, just like any other client or customer or anybody that gets the program, man, I really hope they like it, and I hope they tell me what they don't like about it, more importantly, so I can improve it and I can give them the experience that they deserve for paying their hard-earned money. But I came to you with that, wanting feedback on how I can make it better, and this kind of symbiotically grew into, me being on the Operation Freedom team,
well,
so to say.
A couple of reasons why we're doing this. Number one, you were such a huge hit on the radio show. And people asked that I do a video with you on this.
Oh, wow.
Number one. Number two, as an orthopedic surgeon and as someone who has a radio show and a platform, I have been approached by a large number of people to support their training and conditioning programs. And I have refused. And the reason is because they're one size fit all. They involve huge amounts of equipment with huge expenses. And when I go through the program, I actually felt that a lot of these other programs, actually all these other programs, actually potentially could cause harm in going through the conditioning and training program, just as I saw patients coming in. When you approached me with your program and I went through it, it was drastically different from any other training and conditioning program that I've seen. And in fact, I want to get into that, Stevie, because this is so important. There's not a big cost with your program. It can be easily implemented in someone's home. They don't have to go join a gym to implement it. They don't have to buy $1,000 worth of equipment. And I believe the exercises, how you break it into increasing the number of sets, whether it's a 12-week program you have or the 16-week program, the increasing the repetitions, decreasing the amount of rest time in between these exercises, it's perfect. I think it's fantastic, and I want to break it down for folks so they get an indication of really the benefits of what you present and what you've developed with your program. Many people, Stevie, feel as though, I don't think I need the program. I'm fine. I eat well. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't. Educate all of our listeners on the benefits of a conditioning training program.
Oh wow! I mean, that's just something simply that needs to be done. To prepare yourself. I think it has more even than a physical benefit. Talking about any kind of workout or wellness or health, I like to actually use broader terms so people don't think like when they hear a strength and conditioning program, because that will come as a side effect of doing it. I like to like you're talking about with prevention and health and wellness, this kind of program and the things that I preach within it are really to make you healthy and well for your life. And the side effect is you actually get in shape. Mm-hmm. So, there's something like that with the progressive overload and all these other scary terms that I don't choose to use because I really try to make it simple, affordable, and accessible. People are being tricked into doing something like this, a more complicated bodybuilding program or stuff like that. But the modifications, which, by the way, Dave, I needed. That's how I know to do the modifications. All the injuries, being on the road, being injured, still having to look the part, being on TV and WWE, I needed to have resistance bands and modify and have successful workouts each and every day. And long story short about the program too is that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to be scalable, and it's designed for each and every person that invests in it to be successful. It's not designed to make people feel dumb, to make people feel insecure, or ultimately to make them feel like they failed.
Stevie, when you look at other programs, what are some of the biggest components that lead to problems in those programs?
I think unrealistic expectations. I think the gimmicks of them, the promises of the 21-day fix or this or that's made in the realm of that say, oh my God, I'll get these results and I'll get success within a short period of time. But they don't educate the people on how to do working out in general. Like I'm pretty transparent. I try to be completely transparent with my programs. First of all, there are 12 and 16-week resistance band training programs. I'm really open to say you can double or triple that. So basically to say the 16-week, you can do it for almost a year. So it makes it even more affordable. The other thing I'm doing in these workouts and telling people is this is a primer or a springboard or a foundation that if you want to join Planet Fitness and you want to lift weights and you want to work out with barbells and dumbbells and machines, this will help you do that. I'm not trying to lock people into my ecosystem for life. I want to teach them. It's almost like when, you raise somebody or raise a child and then you say, okay, you're ready to do your own thing, go do it. I'm perfectly happy with that. Other people try to, just in my estimation, they try to keep people dumb, much like what you talk about with the stuff on your shows. Keep them dumb and keep them within our ecosystem so we can continue to make money off them. And that's the big difference with me. It's not a great sales pitch, but I want to make a difference in people's lives, and that's my mission statement.
So speak about the foundational components of your program, because the foundation is so key, and you do such a great job in your program with that.
Well, it depends on the 12 and 16 week. There's different foundations. I think with the mission statement too, and just backing up for a second, I wasn't quite sure of the demographic because we all have egos and we all are proud. And my background and the experience I have in fitness, I was like, should I make a program for guys that want to do CrossFit? Do I make a program for people that want to become professional bodybuilders? Do I want to make something for people that want to be professional powerlifters? And I said, well, that's not who I am. I'm somebody who's been injured a ton of times. I'm somebody who had to modify. I'm somebody who is limited throughout pretty much day-to-day activities. These are the people, the beginners, the people I can teach on how to do this safely. And that's really the foundation is safety. And I think that's missing from a lot of programs. That's missing from a lot of things where people don't try to teach you. You can properly do just about anything safely with the right instruction and the right information. And I hope to do that with the 12 and 16-week programs to give people. I haven't had anybody. I've been really blessed, and I'm very grateful that I haven't had anybody say that there's any holes in the foundational elements of the programs, because they are, I'm testing out the 2021 right now. I spend a full year ahead to test out the programs before I actually release them.
And Steve, show our listeners the equipment that's involved. One is you can do it in your living room. You don't have to go to a gym. You don't need any fancy equipment. Show our listeners really the piece of equipment that this all centers around.
Yeah, this is the beautiful part, especially if you travel. For me, at least, just one band.
The resistance band.
Yeah, this is like a medium resistance band. You don't have to go the heavy. And then I recommend it for everybody to get a door anchor for safety, because there's high, medium, and low anchor door ones. And I even break down the door anchor safety that you never want to use a door, if you can help it, that shuts away from you. You always want it to close towards you, because something might not be structurally sound, or you might be stronger than you think, and here comes the door.
And these resistance bands, where do people get these?
Well, you can get them anywhere. We have them up in the StevieRichardsFitness.com store. These here are the DynaPro ones that come with a lifetime warranty. If you have your own set, that's fine. Just inspect them before and after every workout. Make sure they don't fray. There's no breakage. If you have Amazon Prime, you can pretty much order them from there. I don't try to upsell anybody. If you got bands, you got a door anchor, or you like another brand, I just want you to get healthy. That's all I want.
So, Stevie, why resistance bands versus free weights versus $1,000 worth of fancy exercise equipment?
Well, the last part being the first point of the expensive $1,000, fitness equipment or space. Most people don't have the space to put a huge home gym in there. This here too, also with dumbbells, with barbells, or any kind of resistance training where your form may not be perfect, there's always a chance for injury. Also, if it becomes too heavy, all this does is as you do the resistance, it just lightens up, and you can literally drop it and walk away from it. With a dumbbell, with a barbell, you can drop it, but the force of whatever weight you have and I guess it's just kind of cumbersome in a way that when you're using a barbell or a dumbbell. Here, this is within your own comfort level. You can scale this. I couldn't even explain how many ways you can scale this. Stepping away from the anchor to add the resistance, stepping back in to lessen it, widening your feet, using one foot. There's a bunch of different ways. Whoever invented these, I wish I thought of it first, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that's what was so appealing to me, this variable resistance that can be utilized with the bands. And as you explain in your program, different techniques you can use, as you mentioned, moving your feet, how you move your body, changing the resistance patterns. And this is one of the really great parts, I believe, with your program. When someone utilizes your program, you have a video, a really instructive video of not just how to do the exercise or how many sets to do or how many repetitions, but you also talk about modifications. This is, if you want to increase the resistance, here's how you can do it this is what you have to do to change your feet, change your body. If you want to decrease, same move, different move. This is the differential that I found with your program that I haven't seen with any other program.
Well, thank you very much. I think that the difference too, and it kind of frustrates me, just like when you see a lot of stuff that could be in prevention rather than what happens in our health system. I get frustrated when more fitness people don't show the one thing that I show and I can't help but show is vulnerability. Yeah. Is the fact that I let people know I need to modify this. It seems like with fitness that when ego gets involved with these fitness gurus, that it's show off time.
Yeah, right.
They want to show off that they're in shape, but the eye test says you're in incredible shape. You don't have to show me how hard everything can be. And just to let them know on a financial front, I've always been told the money's in the modification. The money's in really the people that can't do the exercises. Right? The ones that can do it, they're fine. But the people that need the most amount of help, I taught yoga for years. I never paid attention to the people that could bend backwards and put their leg over their head. It was the person that needed 2 chairs just to go 6 inches ahead of them to do a mini lunge. Right. I kept my eye on that person the entire class, and that's what I do in the programs as well.
So let's talk about, there's the 12-week program and the 16-week program. Okay. Other than the time differential, what's the differential between those two programs?
They're both scalable for all fitness levels, but I highly recommend if you've never worked out before or if you're somebody coming off of injury and resetting your fitness journey, start with the 12-week. The 12-week is just a general way to get the foundation. The 16-week has 4 extra weeks, has 4 new phases, is a little more challenging. And I've run into people, even with the 12-week, which starts out with basically your 3 sets of each exercise, very general rep ranges, that progressively overload throughout the 12 weeks. I found a lot of people starting out with 1 set. Mm-hmm. And guess what you can do? You triple the time. So now it's a 36-week program. Mm-hmm. I told them that's great news. They feel all dejected, and they say, oh, I can only do 1 set before I really feel it. I go, that's great. Here you go. Now it's not 12, it's 36. So you basically just, for $15, instead of getting 12 weeks, you have a 36-week program, which, by the way, you can reset that again and get 72 weeks out of it if you choose to, as long as you get bored with it. But most people are pretty excited just to be able to do a 15, 20-minute workout and in their home for an affordable price and actually feel like they accomplished something. It's really cool to hear stories like that.
Well, so one of the big things I found with folks about conditioning programs is if they initially would start off gung-ho, but then if they were having to go to a gym, like today here in Michigan, it's snowing. Oh, I can't go, it's snowing. Yesterday we had freezing rain. Oh, I can't go, it's freezing rain. Again, this is in your living room, and with the programs, you also provide a video input as well, correct?
Correct. And actually direct support with me. So you can email me directly, sir, and just, I'll answer the emails. There's no team around me. This is my baby. Both of these are my baby. This is my business. And these are my clients. I don't even call them customers. They're clients because I like to add a personal training element to this. The videos are like that. And throughout the year too, Dave, what I do is I was like, you know what? I just don't want them to get bored. So I'm going to release like a cool little bonus video. And the people that have ordered it, they get that video as well. So if you're a new customer or somebody that ordered a year ago, I send you the new bonus content as it comes out. I don't want anybody to feel like they're being deprived of the full experience.
Now, when someone does your workout program, let's take a old guy like me, 12-week program. Okay,
you're not that old.
Yeah, I am, but it's okay. That's nice. We'll send you to an ophthalmologist on your eyes, Stevie. It's okay. So here's the deal: 12-week program. Educate our listeners on what that 12-week program would be. You break it down. It's into the first 4 weeks, then 8 weeks, then 12 weeks, correct? Three phases. What changes in each one of those phases? And what's really great about your program, I find you not only focus on uppers, lowers, but core as well, everything.
Yeah, I made it very simple in the 12-week, but it's a simple progressive overload, meaning that you're going to either add sets, add reps, lower rest time, or a combination of all three as you go through the phases. So the 4 weeks, as opposed to some people say, well, you should switch it up every 3 weeks. I want to be safe. I want to give you that extra week for that to get that, because people think, oh, wow, a minute's a long time to rest. Progressively as you go through the workout, and then you have to work out 5 days a week, and you have to do that over 12 weeks. I want to make sure that you're safe. The core exercises too are very simple, very simple. Upper, middle, lower, and rotational. Sides, obliques, love handles. But what I do in both programs, Dave, and you understand this too, I don't want to overload you in the first month to where, number one, you're going to get hurt, you're going to get discouraged. And there's a saying in some circles of bodybuilding and strength and conditioning, volume is volume is volume is volume. And volume means number of sets, number of reps, and how long you do it. So it's a very simple thing. And I want you to train. Once again, I don't want to do a 21-day fix. 12 weeks is just something I needed to name it. But really, like I said, I want it to be a long-term solution for people. And then if people say, hey, man, this is too easy, I want to go join a gym and lift weights, that'll be the biggest compliment you could ever give me.
And Stevie, many folks with time, so when folks start out, let's say in the 12-week program, how much time are they putting in a day in this? Because many people say, oh, I have a busy job, which they do. I have a lot of other responsibilities. I don't have time to be putting in a lot of time to be putting in. How much time?
Well, it depends. If you do the fully prescribed sets, reps, and rest, we're talking 20, maybe 25 minutes if you have to pause the video, if you have to just take a rest. If you go straight through it, I timed it around 20 minutes. And that's not rushing. That's taking your time. Right. The exercises, I want to stress that too. I talk about these rest times, and some of them are shorter as you go along. But you can take as much time you need within the set, the exercise, to safely do it. That's the time where you don't rush.
Right.
I want a quality number of reps, quality number of whatever, and that's the beauty once again about the bands. If I prescribe 12 reps and you're like, man, it's too heavy, step in towards the door, remove one of your feet. Right. You can do that instantly during the exercise, which is so cool, man. When I discovered how these bands and I'm talking about on the road. There's stories about me at the airport gate during delays, working out resistance bands when I was in WWE. It used to become a meme. If there was memes back then, I am that old too, by the way. I'm old enough to be alive when there weren't memes. Right. There would have been memes of me working out at the airport gate with resistance bands if those existed. So it's just always been an amazing thing. That honestly, like I said, I strayed away from my lane and I said, I want to do all this other stuff, and came back to what worked for me throughout all the years of wrestling. And it's just a cool opportunity to help others with it.
So 20 to 25 minutes a day. And there is an instructional video that goes with it. Now, here's what I found with instructional videos, Stevie, is this really jacked instructor does these exercises and makes it look like it's like butter, and then you start to do them, or I would start to do them, and it was like, whoa, this is not as advertised. What I love about your video, when you do the videos with your exercises, is you'll say, now wait, I'm feeling this, so let me show you some modifications that you can utilize so that you feel a little more comfortable with this. And that's where I think your program is so different. And you take people through step by step of how these exercises can be utilized and how they can be modified.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's out of necessity. I still have injuries I deal with. When somebody sees in the 12-week video, it has the full overview videos. The 16-week after you graduate from the 12 has more of an overview type of thing. And then I show the modifications per exercise. So I always recommend, if you've never done anything, the 12-week resembles what people remember from Tony Horton and P90X, where you're getting the full workout video of the demonstration of each exercise. But when I tell you, oh, man, I'm feeling that, or I'm not feeling right today, or my knee hurts, or whatever I say in these videos, that's exactly what's happening. And like I said to you on the radio show, I always thought throughout my entire wrestling career that all these injuries were a curse.
Yeah.
I just thought they were a curse. Like, what is going on? Am I just weak? Am I injury prone? Am I an idiot? Do I not know how to do this right? I keep getting hurt. But now I know on the other side of it that it truly is a blessing. And it's like you said in your book that I was reading, The Awakening of Surgeon, you always think it's the station, and that's about fitness journeys too. Mm-hmm. You always think it is when I get to this point and when I do this or do that. But when you really look back and say, oh, wait a minute, the station really never exists. It doesn't exist. Your fitness journey basically is, I want to work out for the rest of my life. I want to be healthy for the rest of my life. I want to eat. Once you get the attitude of the journey and the trip instead of the station, the 21-day fix, now I'm in shape, I can put that aside. It's such no pun intended, it's an awakening. And that's what I've realized over the years. Have fun with it.
Well, and one of the reasons why I think some of these other programs put a time stamp on it is because they know people cannot do this for the program they've devised for an extended period of time, that it was a quick fix kind of program. And that's where yours is different. Yours is a lifelong program that can be utilized from, if I had a younger child that was going to get involved in sports-related activities, one of the big problems I see is that when parents don't discuss with their kids about conditioning and training programs when they're smaller, as they're working their way up into the high school ranks, college ranks. If they would start on this program, it would be fun for kids with the resistance bands. If they would start on this program early on, I believe the number of injuries that are sustained would be drastically diminished, Stevie.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing too. And I came up in that era, and so did you. Yeah. You're 15, you hit the weight room, let's start benching and deadlifting and squatting and doing all this stuff. When your bones haven't even grown to full, they haven't even fused, and you're doing all these, posterior chain movements and hinged movements, and you have a back injury before you're 18, and you haven't worked the tinier muscles. That's why workouts like this, and talking about another one, yoga, people hate it And they think it's tough because it works muscles that you never knew you had in the first place.
Yeah.
But that's what people change your thinking. Once again, when you hit that, don't be discouraged. Say, I need to do that more in order to get that to be strong.
So you have your resistance band. You also talk in your videos about isometrics. Can you show us a couple things here while we're doing this?
I should have worn one of my sleeveless shirts. I should have branded and had Stevie Richards Fitness shirts on, but I don't. I got the blue. That's good enough. All resistance bands is basically using what you call isometrics. And I don't even like to use fancy terms like that, Dave.
Yeah.
Because people get scared by progressive overload and all this stuff and HIIT and interval training. And they're like, oh, my God, it scares me sometimes. But isometrics is basically just flexing your muscles. And that's where you get the added benefit of this, and that's where the safety comes in. So if I just squeeze my arm like this or even just stretch and you see tinier muscles in my forearm working. Now, that's not necessarily an exercise. I might invent that. But isometrics is just flexing your muscles. And guess what happens when you flex your muscles with the fancy term isometrics? You have no joint impact. If you flex your muscles with resistance bands or you flex your muscles with body weight exercises throughout the whole movement, you'll never lock your elbow. You never lock your knee. You never hinge your back. You engage your core. You squeeze your stomach throughout all that. You squeeze. And it's a simple idea, but it almost takes a lifetime to perfect. And I still don't. Sometimes when I'm lifting and using bands, I get a little bit loose and I just rep out. I'm like, that was terrible. And now I'm doing 3 or 4 slow ones, squeezing the entire way and not feeling a thing in my elbow. So once again, the isometrics are safety. The isometrics are hard, but when you think about it, it's exactly it has a direct benefit. It's if you're lifting weights and you're doing all this stuff, you feel good that you lifted heavy weights, but your muscles aren't getting bigger, you're not getting leaner, you're not getting stronger. But if you do 3 or 4 good reps of isometrics and you basically are burned out, what we call burned out, and you can't do more, you're going to get more benefit.
And Stevie, you mentioned this umpteen times in your videos about not locking your joints. And that is so important because many of these other programs focus on conditioning exercises and training exercises where folks are locking their joints. And as an orthopedic surgeon, that was one of the big problems I found. That when I would have when they say, well, I was doing this exercise program and I got injured, I go, well, show me the exercises you were doing that got you in trouble. And invariably, they would involve resistance programs where they ended up locking their joints out, and it was causing huge problems to the point where they had to come in and see the doc.
Yeah, and if you follow my wrestling career, Dave, or anybody listening or watching, I volunteered enough injuries on myself without causing any more of them. Right. With left, you're supposed to actually feel better and get in better shape after your workouts. There is a breakdown of muscles, but there's not supposed to be a breakdown of joints. It's a tough thing. You talk about it all the time in your videos. We are conditioned through media, through TV. There's a whole bigger picture here. You're conditioned through the fitness models on Instagram. You're conditioned to see these people doing these unreal feats of strength and feats of bodybuilding and these looks, and it's just not healthy. I've seen a lot of powerlifters and bodybuilders and professional wrestlers that look like $1 million, but they never had the foundational and safety elements within their training program, and now they're in wheelchairs, barely walking, doing all this stuff. And I'm almost 50 years old, so I've been beat up quite a bit more than them because I was that guy getting beat up or doing other things that were kind of rough, and I needed to do this stuff to survive. And also, I think the thing too is a lot of times, and just to close that point, when you're a professional athlete and you're a young person or whatever, you don't realize that you have like almost a full lifetime after you're done.
Yes.
Like I'm almost 50, which sounds old to some people, but I mean, I hope God has me on this earth and there are 40, 30, 40, 50 years. That's a long time to live with pain. And that's what I'm trying to pass along to people with that too.
Well, and many athletes that I took care of at the professional ranks, high-end collegiate athletes, Olympic athletes, they believe they'll never get injured. They truly believe that. And then when they do sustain an injury, they'll look at you and they'll go, Doc, I didn't think I could ever get injured. Now I'm injured, and I wish I would have done some training and conditioning differently so I'm not at this point, because I really thought that I was invincible. And it's not just professional athletes, Stevie. Weekend warriors think the same thing. Well, I'm not a professional athlete. I'm not doing this for a living, so I'm not going to get hurt. Oh, no. A very high propensity of recreational athletes will sustain an injury. So I've always advocated conditioning and strengthening and training programs prior to a season's and in year long, but in particular prior to that event season occurring. Many people, as I mentioned, come up with a lot of different reasons why they're not going to do it. You, I believe, have provided a solution that addresses all those excuses. You don't have to go to a gym. You can do it in your home. You don't have to buy a bunch of fancy equipment or expensive equipment. You buy a resistance band. How much does a resistance band cost?
Oh, it depends. We got a little echo. 10 or $15.
Okay.
Door anchor's like $10.
Okay. And now let's talk about your program. How much does the 12-week program cost? How much does a 16-week program cost?
12-week is $14.99, and the 16-week is $24.99.
All right. Now, if I went and I joined a gym in my community, how much would that cost me?
Well, the cheapest one is Planet Fitness. That would be $10 if you just wanted to go to that gym. If you wanted multiple gyms to travel, that would be $20 a month. They charge a maintenance fee twice a year that I think is between anywhere from $46 to $60. So you're talking about $300-400 a year, not counting gas money, not counting the fact that you're not going to be able to use it in snowstorms and ice storms if you don't want to venture out to the gym. And also some holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas, they're only open. Sometimes they're not even open, but Planet Fitness will be open 3-4 hours. But usually when people are with their families, so those are days you have to miss. So like I said, I designed it too that most people, if you're lucky, you're 10 minutes away from a gym.
Right.
So essentially your round trip, you're already done the workout.
Right.
And that's really cool about that. One thing I want to note too, real quick, talking about, I think you and I have the same, and that's why we started talking about this back and forth, is I love to call it not only a strength and conditioning program, but also a prevention program.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about these athletes. If they had addressed this type of training, they would not get injured. And not even that. The worst thing about injuries, and I know better than anybody, it's not the physical thing, it's the mental and the emotional stuff that happens where you feel vulnerable and you're like, I can't do this. And that'll kill an athlete worse than any physical injury.
So somebody purchases your program, the 12-week, $14.95, I believe you said. So how do they do that? They contact you at StevieRichardsFitness.com?
Yes, all they got to do is go to the site, StevieRichardsFitness.com. It's a very simple homepage. It just has the 16-week and the 12-week, and when you click on one of those, it takes you to a landing page and explains everything that they have. Very simple. Not one of those landing pages where you have to scroll 100 times. I tried to make it as simple and easy to digest on what you get with both. 12-week, like I said, is $14.99. And somebody will complain about that. You said $14.95.
Oh, sorry. More. Okay, $14.99.
No, not you. But right. Wrestling fans would complain. No. I want to save 4 cents.
So, Stevie, what do they get with that? So then they sign up, and then what happens?
Well, what they'll do is get an instant, hopefully instant, depending upon the commerce, usually within 5 minutes. The site will email them the download link for the interactive PDF, which contains links that you click on for the overview videos, the exercise demos, all that stuff. And then you'll get a follow-up email from me that will give you the free HIIT workout video with the 12 and 16 week. And with the 16 week, there's a circuit training phase in their last phase 4, that you're prepared for throughout the entire 12 weeks previous to that. And you get a bonus circuit training workout video. So basically, I've provided not only the resistance band, but the cardio element. And believe me, the HIIT workout, if it sounds scary, it's your most basic HIIT workout with modifications, and that's 10 minutes long. So basically, if you do, say you work out 5 days a week and you do the HIIT workout video and the resistance band training, you're talking about a half hour.
And in addition to that, they get access to you, your email, if they have questions, to contact you.
Absolutely. And if you haven't gotten the program, you have questions, or you have especially, StevieRichardsFitness@gmail.com, or just email me through the site. There's a contact thing there. But also there's a closed Facebook group that the clients created. They created a space for them for encouragement, for motivation, and it's a really positive community. Nobody judges anybody. There's no dumb questions, and I'm looking at the group all the time. Sometimes I let people just have their interaction back and forth, but if I see somebody has a question about safety, I do that. And I even go as far as, like, if somebody has a question, I don't want to write a long paragraph. I'll shoot a little video saying, hey, this is the way you should hold the band, just to fill in that support that the programs are never perfect. They can always be better. And the beauty about technology and my grasp on it is I can update with instruction, with modifications, with bonus content to make people feel like there's an even better value with that. And my mission statement is just like yours. I wanted to make the programs, or fitness in general, affordable and accessible for everybody. There's not one person on this planet, no matter who you are or where you're from, that should not have access to be healthier.
Well said.
A solid from you.
StevieRichardsFitness.com. That's the homepage. That's where the information is on the 12-week and the 16-week. And I believe the program is not only outstanding, but what you supply with the program, your video presentations are exceptional because of how they make you feel when you're doing the exercises. You really break it down as far as here's what needs to be done. Now, if that's a problem, here are the modification to make. It's a very easy modification. Move your foot. Move your foot 6 inches. Move your foot a foot. See, and it's noticeable. And this is where yours is so different, Stevie. Plus, you having the feedback to folks through email is, I think, unheard of. And I'm not sure where you get all the hours in the day to do it. But I compliment you for it because it truly is exceptional. And when you look at this program, you realize this is about making people healthier and making them better. And I'd like to thank you for doing that.
No, thank you. And I really am thankful for people like you that inspire people like me to do that. There's people in this world that are like you and what I strive to be, and the world and social media and everybody on a bigger note need to really give those people, including yourself, more of a platform to show that, because it is a very positive and motivational thing, and it gives, I believe, real hope to people that, you know, it's not all doom and gloom on any front in the world.
Stevie, last question. What type of feedback do you get from your fellow wrestlers, professional wrestlers, about your program?
You know what? It's funny, the timing of that question, because more and more wrestlers, as they get older, are examining it and saying, I even have a friend I haven't spoken to in like 5 or 6 years, shot me a DM the other day and says, I really want to know more about your program. I'm feeling this way or feeling that way. You know, guys, including myself, are pretty stubborn and not very proactive. And they're very reactive. So I'm sure the people that are contacting me are hurting. And it's just interesting because as you get older, that's another thing that people consider to be a curse. Yeah. But if you're older and you're healthier and you're showing improvement, it's like from a business standpoint, it's the biggest sales tool of all. But it's also leading by example. So I think they see me on Instagram and social media, and the wrestlers are like, man, I remember Stevie got hurt a ton of times and he's almost 50 and he looks pretty decent. I want to see what he's doing. That, to me, that's a huge compliment. So they laughed and they scoffed at it at first because anything that's new and not proven and out of the realm of wrestling is just going to get teased. It's a locker room mentality. Right. So, but it's coming around. But those aren't the people, though, Dave. Like I said, I would have been like, I'm going to help all the wrestlers out. I want to help the people out that need the most help of all. And I really, that's the most fulfilling thing, to have somebody that said, I've never done this before. I'm scared to death. I don't know what to do. I'll call some of those people too, Dave, because I'm like, an email just sounds so impersonal. Give me your phone number. I spent 15 minutes talking to him, and I'll do that. There was a guy, Ben, who actually emailed me after the radio show, a 90-year-old veteran who had ran marathons. And I don't know if you know this gentleman, but he emailed me and said it was pretty inspirational. I was like, man, you're the real inspiration, and I would love to talk to you. So we've been playing phone tag, but I hope to speak to him soon, because that's the people I want to talk to too. Just to thank him for everything he's done,
Well, and I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. Most folks would have rested on their laurels. You were very successful, and you could have hung out at the beach sipping margaritas all day long. And instead, well, no, you could have, and you didn't. What you did is you looked at your professional life and your life overall and said, look, here's some of the negatives in my life, the injuries that occurred. What could I have done to prevent them? You developed a program. You made it user-friendly. You made it available, and you made it affordable. And in the process, Stevie, anyone who does this, I truly believe, will benefit in a number of different ways. Not just physically, but also, I believe, psychologically and mentally, because you feel as though you're at the top of your game rather than being squashed by Big Brother or the man or whoever it is. And I thank you for that, because I know of no other program that does what yours does, and does so without injuring people, but actually improves their lives. And I want to thank you for that.
I appreciate that. Thank you as well for the encouragement and inspiration. I appreciate it.
And folks, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. StevieRichardsFitness.com. Go there, take a look at the information. I believe you're not going to, there's no other source, and I've researched it to the nth degree. There's no other source like StevieRichardsFitness.com. This is Dave Janda signing off. Until next time, dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for joining us today.